super happy. He just needed that game. Just so excited for him. And I mean, every time he shoots, I feel like it's gonna go in every single time. So I'm happy he saw the ball go in the rim or through the net 1,000 times today. So that's definitely gonna be good for him and for our team.
I know he started with you guys a couple of times last season, but how have you seen him kind of grow more confident in that starting role, especially tonight against a tough defensive matchup against Cap?
He's doing great, just like taking advantage of opportunity and taking shots, but driving and also getting all the way to the rim and passing, like literally doing everything. And I think the biggest thing for him is his defense got so much better and he's just taking a lot of pride and, just not going sad, like just locking up and being tough and physical. So he's been hooping.
Mikal, you guys were really getting Cam on the move off the ball to make Carl move a bit. And how much do you guys want to test that type of thing when teams are trying to play a certain matchup like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's happens when you go too bigs. It's like they grow up, in the paint and, it's tough for them to be on perimeter. So we got guys that play on perimeter their whole life. So when you see things like that, just put them in actions, things they're not kind of comfortable in and just try to take advantage.
I remember 2 years ago, you guys did that with Anthony Davis too in the Lakers series. Does continuity help the fact that you guys have so much experience doing that already?
For sure. And I think we all know too, just our mindset when, whoever the big is on them, we just kind of be more aggressive and, get more looks. And we just know it's tough for them. No knock on Cat or Gobert, it's tough. Like whole life, being in the paint, being in the drop to guard guys on perimeter who smaller and quicker, like it's tough. So but yeah, just trying to take advantage of that.
How big was it for Cam to have you back on that turnover when he got the strip and then the three on the other end?
Yeah, that was I know, I was just like, as soon as I let it go, I was like, damn. And Cam got back and then C saved it. And I was just like, all right, happy didn't go down as a bucket. It kind of saved me a little bit.
It's kind of early in the season and you're taking a lot of punishment out there. How are you feeling physically?
Great. I feel good. Been through it 4 years in a row. It's year 5 and ain't nothing new.
Yeah, when you see Dario getting back out on the floor, what does that do not just for you, but just for the team overall?
Just great, man. He just so many injuries he had, kind of little setbacks, and just happy for him to finally be out there and confident and moving well and everything. So it's great. I know the offense is never going to go away, but I think coming off injury, the hardest thing is defending and being in rotation and all that stuff. And he looked good today and just continue to get better and just happy for him.
With those 2 7-footers out there, a lot of the time, Bismack and Jock's job was basically to box out while everyone else had to gang the rebound. Booker and Chris Paul and the team rebound. Was that the plan the whole time for those guys to do the box outs?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are so effective and great on on the glass, and just kind of got to crack back and help, and you got to help gang rebound, and that's what C and Book did. I wish I was in there a little bit, and I felt myself not, but no, they did great, and that's just the trust we have. Letting Biz and Jock go be aggressive. If a guy's coming down on them on a ball screen, so you go block it or something, just cracking back and go and help gang rebound.
Titans 2-1 series lead.
Yes, sir. 2 more.
Thanks, Mikal.
I hope you get those. We talked about Cam Johnson coming into the season of wanting to be better on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And he had a handful with talent, but made a couple plays, and then obviously got it going from outside. What do you think of his overall game?
I think he's getting more comfortable with the role. But I thought defensively, he was really good tonight. In the first half, I think Cat was 3 for 9, and our team defense helped, but I thought Cam did a really good job of fighting him to get him out of his sweet spot or off his sweet spot. And then the team defense around him made it tough for Carl to see the basket. He hit some tough shots in the second half. He got biased one time and, got a layup, but, some of his shots were pretty tough. I thought our defense was pretty good in the first and second pass or action. And then they hit some shots late, especially in the fourth quarter. But in reference to Cam, I thought he did a really good job of fighting and just making sure that Cat didn't get where he wanted to get to initially start to play. And then offensively, he was really aggressive. After the second part of the first quarter, we were like, dude, like, go, everybody was telling him to shoot the ball. And then he got going a little bit tonight. And he has that ability. I keep saying this about him. He's more than a shooter. He has the ability on offense to make plays at the rim, in the mid-range. He's a really good passer. But we just want him to play free. And that's what we saw tonight.
I think you guys season high for 3 attempts. I think it was like 43 or something like that. Well, how much of that was the size of Minnesota and how much of that was just, guys just launching?
Well, I mean, it'd be tough for me to say. But watching the first half film, when we watched at halftime, the paint was crowded and we were finding guys on the backside. And so that's probably a byproduct of the way we play, but maybe their coverage, whatever the coverage was, they were switching and then we beat the guy to the basket, they collapse and then we find guys. And then there were times where they stepped up in a coverage, which makes you help on the backside. But I can't be too sure about that until I see the whole game.
Coach Cam and Mikal both had a number of steals that were able to ignite you guys in transition. They were both your leading scorers tonight. Just what does that do as far as making life easier on Chris and Book when they're able to get out and run like that?
I just thought they did a really good job on the backside. When we were guarding the ball or somebody was driving to the basket, they were trusting the guy on the ball and we were in our steal out defense. A lot of the deflections and steals were on the backside tonight, where it looks like you're going to be in the paint to help, and then you run out to your guy to try to take the pass away. Mikal is really good at that. I thought Cam just did a really good job of getting his hand on the ball. The one play, it was a transition play, I think, with Cat, and he just got his hand on the ball and was able to save it, I think. That's just a tough, gritty play where he just has the will to stay in the play without foul. There's a lot of times where a guy will be in that situation and you'll just foul and you'll have the help coming behind you to make a play or a block shot. I thought he did a really good job of just being solid in those moments.
You had talked about the all bench lineup, giving them a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
I know the results probably weren't what you were hoping.
Yeah, I didn't let him go. I didn't like the feel of it at the end of the third. They had us on our heels a bit. And I should have gotten Dario in earlier to match up against Nas. They went with 2 bigs. And the one post up, I think Nas had one of our smalls down there. He just turned and laid it up with his left hand. That's on me. I should have had Dario out there. And then they had the momentum. And I think it was a 2-point game when I made the change. I just didn't want to put them in that situation. They've been really good so far this year, but sometimes it's the rotation, the play call, or sometimes it's just bad play. It just didn't have a great feel tonight at the end of the third quarter.
Why does it be a learning process?
Yeah, for sure. And they all feel it. I mean, they're not out there trying to make bad plays. In those situations, we'll look at the film, but in those situations, we have to read the game. They were just attacking us. And I didn't think we had a good rhythm on offense. They had us running our offense way outside the 3-point line and we weren't getting to the paint. I just didn't feel like we had a good rhythm. And a lot of that is the rotations or just the way we were playing.
I know Cam and Mikal to have the offensive nights that they did. Devin is out and with foul trouble, no DeAndre tonight. Is that kind of speaking back to the vision you talked about in camp of wanting those guys to be more threats offensively?
Yeah, I mean, it gives us balance when those guys are playing that way. And it wasn't forced. It wasn't like they were pounding the ball and jacking up shots. They were slashing, they were spacing. I thought Mikal, his slashing tonight was just phenomenal. Whether it was slashing for a mid-range or slashing for a layup, and then his passing, he found Biz a couple times tonight. We want to try to grow that environment as best we can. We feel like he can make plays And I haven't given him the freedom to do it in the past few years, but we feel like he's more than capable. But to your point, we need those guys. I think it gives us balance across the board as far as scoring.
Cam naturally gets chased off the line now. It seems like he's really comfortable with that wonderful pull. Is
Yeah.
that one that comes to mind to you with him being aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him taking that shot. I think when you show the propensity to be efficient there, but not just taking the shot, being able to read what else is there. And I think he's capable of that. Mikal is as well. I mean, Mikal had a couple of opportunities where he could have taken a shot and he found Biz under the basket. You know, when people run you off the line, you have to have something else to go to. You can't always get to the rim. And that's why we don't mind when guys take the mid-range shot.
Monty, this happened a lot last season and it's been evident this season so far that every time the opposition makes a run, gets close, you guys have a counter. What's the biggest factor that enables you to do that?
I mean, we have veteran players. I think that helps. Guys who've been in those situations, they typically don't get rattled. And we have a really good backcourt. You know, when you have guys who can handle the ball in those situations, you feel like you can settle the team down by making sure you get a good shot. And Chris and Book are really good at that. But to complement that, I think that's where Cam and Mikal have grown. And we've been in a lot of situations together over the past now 4 years. And so when we're in those moments, I can't say you're not nervous. I mean, you're always nervous as a coach, but I think we're used to it, if you will. We just try to, play our game in those moments, not get too rattled, where you're throwing the ball all over the place. We have play calls and packages that help us in those moments, but it's in my opinion, when you have veteran players like Chris and Book and now Mikal and Cam who handle the ball a lot, I think that helps you.
Coach, 5 or 6 of those Chris's assists turn into like 16 of Cam's points. So how much does that run in place for Cam at 3 or just reacting to what the defense gives you?
Probably both. I mean, Cam spaces the floor 4 or 5 feet past the 3-point line, so that allows for Chris to have space. But in reference to Chris finding Cam, I think Chris is just looking for the open man. It just happened to be Cam tonight. But it'd be hard for me to explain to you what Chris is doing out there. I mean, I watch it all the time, but I'm not that bright. He's just really good. I mean, I think he had 1 turnover tonight. So I don't know how many assists he had. He had 12. And so that's 27 assists, and 1 turnover in 2 games. I mean, that's just Chris. He knows where the holes are. He knows where to find guys. He knows where they are. He knows every position on the floor. I think that has a lot to do with it.
It seemed also there was one play where he pulled the chair out from under Gobert. What was it like it seemed like there was some plan or something to basically get Gobert.
He's outmatched from a size perspective. I think a lot of the veteran guys, you'll see Kyle Lowry do the same thing. And they're in a situation like that, they'll pull the chair just to use the big guy's momentum against them. Again, I think he's just being a crafty defender in those situations.
Has the league been really clear with you guys about the clear path foul or the transition?
I think everybody's somewhat confused on it.
Yeah.
I thought Cam, I got to look at it again, but I thought he got the ball, and from what I gather, if you make a play on the ball, it's not a take foul. But we've had a couple of situations this year that you could complain about. It's not going to help, and I'm certainly not going to get fined for a take foul complaint. Got a lot of kids, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.